it's that. I think it's something that requires practice over time for you to really overcome that part of your reflexes.
Yeah.
Because your first reflex when the market dumps is sell it.
Yeah.
Sell it now. You're not even looking at TA. You're not even looking at support. Are you at support? No one cares. You're just feeling that pain and you want to run away from the pain or the possibility of that pain.
Yep.
So I think that pilot analogy was like bang on.
Hey guys, Krisha here. Please be cautious of any fake comments and emails you may receive from people pretending to be Mango Research. Shawn and I will never, ever contact you for investment opportunities or anything of that sort. To get in touch with the real Mango team, make sure to join our official Discord chat using the link in the description below. Stay safe out there, and remember, do it Mango.
As human beings, we are wired differently, right? The way our hormones work, the way the neurons fire in our brains, the way our brain is connected, the way we receive information, it's not as black and white and as straightforward as we think. There are two key areas in your brain when pertaining to making decision making. Okay, the frontal cortex, okay, of your brain, which is responsible for rational thought and rational thinking, making right decisions in a more calm, decisive manner. And then there is the amygdala, which is literally the part of our brain which has allowed us as a species to survive, because the amygdala essentially responsible for all fear responses. Okay, every time we sense anything that could be dangerous, that could be harmful, that could be critical to our life, right, the amygdala is actually the one that handles that information. Okay, if you guys have ever been in a scenario where your hands are tingling, or the hair at the back of your neck is actually standing and tingling, you're sensing that something is wrong, right? But you haven't been able to put words to it just yet. You know that something is wrong. Someone is following you. Something like, something is wrong. You just don't know what yet. Your spidey senses tingle, right? We've all gone through these emotions. What's actually happening over there is that your amygdala is picking up on information that that your frontal cortex hasn't really evaluated just yet and made sense of that information. But the amygdala is hyper responding to it, quickly acting on it. Why? Because that's its job, to act before you can make sense or freeze or think twice. If a bear is coming running at you back when we were still in our caveman days, a bear is running at you, charging at you, right? You don't want to sit down and think and do calculus over there. You want to just run for your freaking life, right? You want to get back to your cave. You want to your instinct needs to, your fear instinct needs to kick in. Now here's the great thing about the amygdala that allows us to survive, but also the bad thing about the amygdala that doesn't allow us to survive in the financial markets. The amygdala short circuits every other part of the information processing flow in your brain, right? So if fear is if information is entering your brain, information that could be damaging to you, right, that could be harmful for you, that could be scary, that could be critical for you, the amygdala will actually short circuit every other part of your brain. It will short circuit the frontal cortex that is supposed to process that information under regular circumstances. It will take that information, it will actually reduce flow, okay, to the frontal cortex, and the amygdala will handle it instead. And that information is not being thought out rationally, right, which is why you see irrational behavior when markets are fearful. And that is the key part there, guys. Irrational behavior when the markets are fearful, because the amygdala is taking control of people.
It steps in first.
It steps in first.
It's like the first sort of barrier that you go through, that the information goes through before anything else.
Yeah, it's like, how markets gap up, rather they limit up or limit down. In traditional markets, they essentially limit the market from going any further, right? They limit, it's like an artificial stopper, right, of the markets being a free market. So over here, the amygdala is acting like that too. It's an artificial, it's not artificial, it's natural, but it's the amygdala coming in and stepping in and saying, hey, no, I'm handling this, right? It explains why sometimes when you see something really shocking or scary or very, very depressing, people faint. Right? Why? Because the amygdala gets activated so forcefully that all blood rushes out of the frontal cortex and you faint, because there's no blood in that part of the brain, and you black out for a time at the very least. So those emotions are really, really useful for you when a bear is charging at you and you need to run away. But in the financial markets, when the bear is charging at you with the markets dumping, those same emotions, you see a bear on the charts literally dumping into your profits, right? Dumping into your losses, and your losses are expanding and you get fearful.
Yeah.
And now you're not thinking rationally anymore, guys. What you're thinking is, I gotta flee, right? So the rational thought is hijacked during fearful responses. So now going back on over to crypto fear and greed, I think
you gotta train yourself.
Yeah, so and I have an example for that too, right? So when we reach these extreme fear zones, you can kind of get, as long as you trust this chart to gather information properly, right? You can gather that, hey, people are likely acting irrationally over here.
Right.
because their amygdalas, it's a human biology,
yeah.
right? Now, Krisha, you used to train to be a pilot,
Yeah.
right? You can help us with this example over here. But when a plane stalls in midair, okay, and the plane starts going nose down, your first response, your amygdala is going to tell you, hey, pull the freaking lever up, right? But what's going to happen if you do that?
It's just going to make it worse.
It's going to
make it worse, and you're going to stall even further, and it's
You're dead.
you're dead.
Because you lose the lift,
Yes.
right? I believe,
Yes.
right? You lose lift, and that's what you need. What you need to do apparently as a pilot when your plane stalls, you need to apparently, I don't know, she would know, go down even further, get that lift, and then drift up, right? You have to do literally the opposite of what your amygdala is telling you, which is flee, go back up, or I'm gonna freaking die, right? So in the markets, it's a similar response. You need to. That's why I tell people. That's why I tell every seedling. Your job right now is not to make gains. Your job right now is to survive, right? And that's what they train pilots to do as well. First, you guys need to learn how to survive before you can fight a fighter jet, right? Fly a fighter jet, right? You need to be able to control the plane under those kind of scenarios. You need to be able to survive, right? So it's a very similar thing over here. We need to survive in the beginning phase so that these emotions, they don't get the better of you. The amygdala doesn't get the better of you. You know how to react. You're like, all right, I know what's going on over here. I'm feeling these initial instincts to act stupidly, irrationally, but I'm trained enough as a pilot, because a pilot who goes over those drills, how many times do you?
Yeah, so you have to go. I mean, you practice, right? It's lessons, but it's hours. You're spending hours sometimes to actually get it down, and it's that. I think it's something that requires practice over time for you to really overcome that part of your reflexes.
Yeah.
Because your first reflex when the market dumps is sell it.
Yeah.
Sell it now. You're not even looking at TA. You're not even looking at support. Are you at support? No one cares. You're just feeling that pain, and you want to run away from the pain or the possibility of that pain.
Yep.
So I think that pilot analogy was like bang on.
Yep.
I think that's the best analogy you can use for this instance.
Yeah. And now here's the next part of the question, though. Why do people, now this may sit in line with blow off tops, okay?
Right.
When the markets get greedy,
Right.
okay, and you see blow off tops, why doesn't that sit? Why doesn't the theory sit in line with greed in a situation like, let me switch back here, right? Over here. We had the market stay greedy for a good like month and a half, almost. Yeah, month and a half. And we didn't see the market actually have a blow off top. We did not see the markets go from extreme fear to extreme greed. It like leveled off again. Why? Because what people don't understand is that blow off tops are actually another representation of greed flipping into fear. Okay, at one point, okay, if you just go through the flow process of how greed plays out, and markets get greedier and greedier and greedier, and markets go up higher and higher and higher. Think back to 2017, we rallied from freaking $900 Bitcoin to 20,000, right? It happened slowly. There were interims where this happened, where we were greedy, went up to from 900 all the way to 3,200 and dumped back down to 1,800, right? But then the markets leveled off again, and the greed built up, and then it got crazy. Then we went to 20,000. At that point, guys, when the markets reach a point where the greed has reinforced itself so much, where prices turn into unthinkable numbers, we have two fear emotions kicking in now from two different segments of market participants. Okay, and I put a lot of thought into this, which is why I'm giving you guys my theories on this. You guys can let me know your thoughts. Two market participants who are in deep profits, okay, profits that are life-changing for like ever, like multiple lives. And then there are people who are taking I was going to say OSAP, but student loans for you guys and wherever you are in the world, taking student loans and buying the top of the market around $15,000, $20,000 of the market. Then you're like, okay, Bitcoin's going to go to 200,000. I'm willing to bet the farm on this, willing to bet my house on this. Okay, so you have people who are fearful because they're about to lose life-changing profits,
right. And
you have people who are fearful because they have put everything on the line at these prices, and the slightest rock in the boat, okay, slightest rock in the boat can cause a bank run at that point, okay, and greed at that point flips to fear, in my opinion, which is why blow-off tops are a representation of actually markets bottoming. In a way, it's the same emotions. It's the fear. It's fear because you are afraid of giving up profits. That's what it turns into. And yeah, fear, by the way, is
that's a good way to look at it.
So it helps me at least. It helps me.
That makes so much sense, though. What do you guys think?